What's going on, guys? This is Coach Jason with Rosati Strength Systems. I want to first thank you for joining me today. We're going to be talking about how I gained 15 pounds of muscle and prepared for this jiu-jitsu competition that I recently won. I feel like this could add a lot of value for those who are trying to get stronger and trying to get better for competition, okay? So we're going to just jump right into it. I put everything into these little bars and blocked off so that way we can focus specifically on certain topics as they arise. So what we're going to cover in today's training is how I structure my jiu-jitsu training and skill development, how I plan my strength workouts around jiu-jitsu training, and how I use nutrition and sleep to speed up recovery. Okay. A lot of people have this belief that strength training, or that they can't work out, they can't strength train because they're too sore or they're too tired or they don't have enough time. And I'm here to tell you that if you strength train the right way, you are actually going to benefit and improve your recovery, not take away from your jiu-jitsu training. You're actually going to feel better from doing your strength training than not doing it. A big thing is that jiu-jitsu, unfortunately, does affect does have a higher risk of injury. It can affect our posture. A lot of pain can come from it. And we can use strength training to kind of counteract those negative things for jiu-jitsu and promote the recovery for the next section, that we have, okay? But of course, the most important thing when it comes to getting better for a competition or just having better performance in general is going to be your skill development, okay? So I want to first kind of share with you guys what my approach is to jiu-jitsu training. And this is usually what I recommend to clients. This is stuff that I've seen work at a very high level. And one of the first things you're going to see is I surround myself with very high level grapplers and jiu-jitsu people from Vanguard Academy and training under Jason Rao and Nick Ronan. Obviously, I'm going to be having access to that high level technique and that high level skill that's going to promote and improve the ability for me to win. And that's something that you have to consider. Whatever area that you're in, you always want to surround yourself with the best people so that way you can get the best feedback and you can start to improve yourself just based off who you surround yourself with, right? They say that you're the average of the 5 people that you're around. So if you're around 5 killers, you're probably going to be a killer too. So that's the philosophy behind that. I also study a lot of the high level grapplers. I watch all the events and I really try to slow it down and watch it multiple times. And I try to be very clear about what they're doing on a technical level that's helping them win, right? I'm not just watching to win for entertainment purposes, although that is always fun. I try to look at what they're actually doing and seeing if I can learn anything from it. I watch a lot of instructionals and I try to drill the moves after I learn the techniques. The instructionals that I've been watching is usually Gordon Ryan, John Danaher, Jason Rao, Nick Ronan, and John Kallenstein. Those are probably my top 5 people that I watch. And I feel like my skill development has been really improving. And also, it's really important for you guys to ask specific questions about the problems that arise when you're rolling. So if you find yourself in rolls that you're getting, like, let's say, stuck in closed guard, it's important that you ask and you try to figure out the answer to getting out of closed guard, right? That's obviously going to be the most important thing when it comes to developing your skill, okay? And then as far as the volume and how often I train, I usually try to train anywhere between 5 to 6 days a week. And I try to do double sessions when I can, just depending on what my work schedule is looking like and just how I'm feeling overall. I'm a very listen to your body type of person. I think if you're feeling very fatigued, if you're feeling very shot, I think it's good to take a step back to let your body recover. But I also think it is important to challenge yourself as well and to be consistent. So I usually will feel, when I do feel better, I try to be a little bit more intense about it. And when I'm feeling, not so great, I try to take a step back. Maybe I try to focus on defense and a slower pace. And I think this is really important because I think a lot of people in general are very all in or all out when it comes to their mentality. They'll either train really hard or they'll not train at all. They'll work out really hard or not work out at all. When I think it's actually the best benefit for yourself is to look at it from a 60 to 80% intensity consistently over time, rather than always trying to go 110%. This is a big difference between the Western and Eastern philosophy of thinking when it comes to, let's say, like Olympic level of training Western civilization like America is going to be more about like high intensity, go, 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 and then they get burnt out. Where Eastern civilization like Russia, who has been winning a lot of the things like Olympic wrestling, Olympic weightlifting, they will usually try to be more frequent, but they keep the intensity at a little bit of a lower pace so that way they're able to recover. And then they crank up the intensity when it comes time to actually compete. And I found that for most people, including myself, this is the best way to go about things, okay? So now that we kind of talked a little bit about skill development, I want to start going into the main dish, the main course, the meat and potatoes. I want to talk about what I was doing as far as my weightlifting goes and my strength training goes. So that way you can maybe learn something from this and you can take away something from this. So I usually do every other day, or I do 2 days off, and I try to get anywhere between 3 to 4 workouts per week. Sometimes it's 2, especially leading up to a competition. I'll usually do a little bit less strength training, and what I mean by leading up, I mean like the week of. But let's say like 4 weeks out, I do try to keep that strength training up pretty high, because I find that the strength training really helps make my joints better. Like if I don't strength train for a while, I'll really feel my back start to act up. I'll feel my shoulders and my neck start to hurt. But every time I strength train, I always feel way better afterwards. At least that's the way that I do it. And the way that by kind of what we've been talking about, like controlling our volume, trying to be more frequent, not always trying to go 110%, I think that that really helps me feel better after my strength training and not feel like I can't do my strength training because I'm sore, right? And I think that that's what a lot of people have. Each workout, I try to focus on 1 to 3 main compound movements, and I just focus on trying to make that a little bit better over time. I'll usually work up to a top set, so my intensity will be pretty high on that day, but that will just kind of depend on how I feel. So, you know, if I'm feeling really good, I'll be able to like squat or press or pull more weight. If I don't feel so good, then I won't be able to do as much weight. So I won't always try to go for a personal record, but I will try to do my very best for that day. And once I do my very best, I scale it back, I stop, and I move on to the next exercise. So that's basically the way that I like to approach things, and that's how I like to show my clients as well. And we found that it was very, very effective, because when you train with this type of schedule, it's easier for you to adapt to the injuries that come out from jiu-jitsu, and you're better able to make progress and stay with it over time, right? Because the key is to be consistent. Like, just because you're sore and tired doesn't mean you can't work out, right? That's a big belief that a lot of people have, is that they're too sore or tired to work out, when the actuality is you might feel better after your workout than you did before if you do it the right way. And that's, you know, hopefully hopefully you're getting those light bulb moments as you go through this. Hopefully this is helpful for you. And, you know, a lot of people get very specific about, like, I need to work out on this day, this day, this day. But I find that, you know, life gets in the way sometimes. So I just try to fit it in whenever I can. If it's before a jiu-jitsu session, if it's after a jiu-jitsu session, if it's when I don't do jiu-jitsu at all, that's when it gets done. And I think that's the most important thing, is to be able to adapt to whatever life throws at you, so that way you can stay consistent. And like I said previously, usually the week of, I really scale back the strength training. Actually, this last tournament that I won, I scaled back the strength training entirely for an entire week, because I really wanted to make sure that I wasn't sore, right? There's nothing wrong with being sore. Sore is not a bad thing, but I wanted to make sure that I was as fresh and recovered as possible. And I think that that's a really good mentality to look at when it comes to competition. I usually try to compete every about 6 weeks or so. So that gives me like a good at least 4 to 5 week period where I'm really strength training hard, and then I can scale that back and make sure I'm recovered for the day of. So that's kind of how I approach my jiu-jitsu. That's how I approach my strength training. As far as like specific exercises and sets and reps and stuff, that's really going to just depend on what type of equipment that you have available, what your goals are specifically, what your weak points are, what your strengths are. But it's going to be a lot of maybe things that you've heard before. It's a lot of like the, you know, squats are always there, overhead pressing is always there, pull-ups is always there, and then some, you know, throwing in some core work and stuff like that. I'm going to make an opportunity for you guys to learn a little bit more about like the specific details, but for today, I just wanted to go over the overall concepts. All right, so now that we talked about skill development and we talked about strength training, let's start to go into nutrition. All right, so let's start getting a little bit into nutrition, okay? So we talked about strength training, skill development, and all that, but you can use nutrition and sleep to boost your recovery. And this is important because if you're tired or feeling tired, maybe your sleep is off, maybe your nutrition is off, and we can have small wins with our nutrition and our sleep, and that will allow us to have more energy for our strength training. That's at least what I found a lot of the times when I'm working with people. So yeah, obviously when you're trying to gain weight, I gained about 15 pounds in the past 6 months. Every single day, I try to be in at least 500 calorie surplus. This is the most important thing. I think this is where a lot of people go wrong. If you're really trying to prepare for competition, you're probably trying to work out and strength train, you're doing a lot of jiu-jitsu, you're burning a lot of calories. And if you're not eating enough, if you're constantly in a deficit, you are going to feel sore, you are going to feel tired. You're not going to be recovering as properly if you're not getting those calories in. So if your goal is to gain weight, then you want to be in a slight calorie surplus. If you want to just kind of maintain where you're at, then you're not going to be in a calorie surplus, but you're at least going to eat enough to not be losing weight. Because if you're eating too little and your metabolism starts to slow down, you're going to feel more fatigued as a result. That's your body adapting to the lower calories. When you add calories to your diet, you're going to fuel your performance. That's going to make you work harder, and then that's going to make you probably burn more calories anyway. So that's kind of how you would go about maintaining weight. And then, I try to sleep 7 to 8 hours every single night, and almost every day I do have a power nap for 30 minutes, and that thing is a lifesaver. It is so important to my schedule. I think everybody should do it. I think power naps are a great thing. You try not to sleep more than 30 minutes because then you start to go into other sleep cycles. We really just want to try to get a little bit of rest and then continue on with the day. As far as like what I eat, in the morning I'm very simple. Maybe I'll have a protein shake, maybe some yogurt, some dried fruit, something simple, easy to digest before training. But I won't eat a big meal until about 2 to 3 p.m. and then I'll take my nap after that big meal. And then after my nap and after I eat, it just depends on what I have planned for the day. I'll either go to work, I'll either hang out with family if it's like the weekend, or I'll go do a second jiu-jitsu session. It just kind of depends on my time. It depends on what's available for me. So that's kind of the way that I structure my day. And if I do train in the morning, if I do train twice in the morning, then I will eat extra during the morning. I won't fast as much. I won't wait as much until the afternoon, because once I stimulate like a workout or even jiu-jitsu, if I stimulate my muscles, I want to get something in there as fast as I can. My main focus is just being in a calorie surplus, eating at least 1 gram of protein per body weight. Try to go for more. I'm about 185. I try to go for about 200 grams. I do a gallon of water a day. I have vitamin D3, fish oil, B complex, 5 to 10 grams of creatine monohydrate every day. That's just for health. I also take probiotics as well. I just do that for overall general health, make sure my nutrients are taken care of. And the creatine has really helped me with my muscle endurance and to help with the fullness of my muscles as well. So yeah, that's kind of like the main things that I do when it comes to nutrition and sleep. It's very simple, but it's something that a lot of people forget and they don't pay attention to. The main thing is really trying to build up the habits to be doing these things. And I know that there was probably a lot of information that was thrown at you today. So I want to give you guys an opportunity to work with me and to work with other jiu-jitsu athletes on getting better for competition, getting stronger, minimizing your injuries, improving your recovery, and improving your nutrition. So guys, we have a 12-week mentorship program that we have for jiu-jitsu athletes and grapplers to learn and to apply all of these different skill sets to their training. And, we've been finding that a lot of people are really benefiting from it. You can see some of the testimonials right there on the cheat sheet. If you look in the description below, you'll be able to obviously get this whole sheet. You'll be able to view this whole sheet, and you'll be able to kind of click that link there, and you'll see that there's other people there. We can talk one-on-one beforehand to make sure it's a good fit. But if this is something that is interesting you, this is going to be a great opportunity for you. So if this stuff was very helpful, go ahead and ask a question below. If you have any questions about the program, go ahead and ask. If you have any questions about what we taught today, then I can either make a video about it or I'll respond to you right in the comments. But other than that, guys, I wanted to keep this short and sweet and just super concise and helpful as much as I can. I hope it was helpful. Let me know if it was. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share the video, as that always helps me build my brand. I would really appreciate it. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day.